Hey everybody, happy Friday! Suzette speaks in the building with attorney Melissa Wilson. We're here doing another fantastic show, helping you get a little law in your life. We're going to be talking about wills and trusts, and she's the expert, y'all. So I'm just going to be following her lead. Please hit the like button. Please say hello and share.
It's okay. It's okay.
I want to.
I did it on purpose, but it's good.
Oh no,
It's real. It's cool.
I want us to get the full time with this topic. That's all. Hey, hey. Pleasant good afternoon, one and all. It's Suzette Speaks live on your radio. We have a fantastic show for you today. Happy Friday. Thanks for everybody who participated in yesterday's show. If you don't know who I am, radio host, attorney, um, busybody, everything in between. I love to do things in the community. I guess you call me event curator as well, hostess with the mostest. First and foremost, I want to thank God it's Friday. Let's give God. I'm gonna give it my own internal in the station. If you're watching online, praise. Sometimes the weeks feel so long, y'all, and we make it every week. Thank you, God, for opening our eyes, movement, sight, sound, all of that. Sometimes we can't take the little things for granted. This show is gonna be a how law can help your life, and I think life lessons in law. I don't know how I was coming up with a cool title, y'all, but we are going to do some work in educating you today. So I want you to listen closely because we have some issues in our community when it comes to the passing of our loved ones and the complicated situations that arise thereof. Okay, get the attorney hat off. No, let me try and break it down some more. Sometimes in life, we don't like to think about what we all inevitably will face, which is one day we won't be here with our loved ones. And what we can do is be resourceful and accountable really to the people that we love by preparing, right? So in today's show, I'm joined again by attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal PA, main office Sunrise, to talk about this topic. And I want her to break it down today. It's wills. And we're going to add this other word, trusts, because in our community, I find that we don't really understand these two beautifully created by the law mechanisms to help our families once we've passed. And again, we as people who are sometimes superstitious, we don't want to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that because we're not calling upon ourselves. We're not bring that to it. But as mama and papa getting older, as granny get older, as people we love get older, and even ourselves, we have to, especially when it comes to planning for families, get our affairs in order. And one of the best ways you can do that is exploring creation of a will or a trust. Now, most people hear about will, but a lot of us in our community don't know what trust is. So we're going to do some educating today. If you have any questions, you can call us here at the studio, 850-446-0562, 850-446-0562. Get you right in touch. Suzette Speaks and attorney Melissa Wilson. We're going to also remind you that today's conversation is for educational purposes only. So if you do have a direct question, you can call her. All right, because none of this is specific advice. All right, so don't take this as advice. This is for educational and even entertainment, we could say, purposes. But I want her to introduce herself. Welcome back, sis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on again.
I'm so happy that you're here. Listen, this is getting so comfortable. I'm loving your energy always, and you bring such great knowledge to the people. So that's why we continue to encourage folks like yourself who have the time away from your business to come here and talk to people. Thank you. Thank you first and foremost. If you didn't hear her last week, y'all, she did some work last week too. But reintroduce yourself to the people, please.
Hi, I'm Melissa Wilson, founder of Integrity Legal PA, and little background, born Jamaican.
Hey,
right? I know, say don't tell people that you're Jamaican if you're not born in Jamaica. Okay. So, anyways, we've been having a couple of discussions. We started off talking about the immigration policy with Biden. We also talked a little bit about child custody and time sharing last week.
Changes in the family law. You missed last week's show. We did some work, y'all. That's all right. That's all right. You're here today. So we appreciate it. Yes. And thank you for listening. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We're on a family of radio stations here And during the midday on Voice of the Caribbean I Radio, we tend to do some great talk shows, right? Informing the community, connecting the community. As Humble Lion gave you a list of what you can do this weekend. The events are popping. It's summertime, y'all. I'm excited. I mean, I'm outside. I'm outside. And if you're gonna be at Rygan King, this the Voice of the Caribbean is sponsoring the Rygan King album release. The new album, the Recovery album, will be this coming Monday, y'all. And the special guests include Damian Marley. Hey. I and my favorite and Sarani. Listen, the gal them come out. This is gonna be. I'm gonna look cute too. I'm gonna be out there. Listen, this young man has come a long way. If you know his story, Rygan King. We fell in love with the Ting Tough, you know. Y'all don't know the song. Y'all don't know the song. Me know them song that little slap, but me know that song. But no, them song they're hard songs too. But God has brought him down a different path. Hallelujah. Different path. Honestly, this man has been through so much. And for him to come back with a new album, still pushing, I can't even only imagine. But in his story, honestly, we think about life is so unpredictable and anything can happen to any of us anytime. So you can be at the heights of your career and somebody might mind you and look at him, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And you got to pull it together and pick up the pieces. So we're going to try to give you some information today about this area of law. Again, you can call her directly. Tell us where you practice and what areas of practice that you, in addition to wills and trusts, that you practice.
So all of the practice areas I practice, a lot of practice areas I do civil litigation, real estate, foreclosure defense, immigration, of course, family law, which means divorce, guardianship. I do probate. That's part of what we're talking about today.
Yes.
And entertainment law and intellectual property.
And how can people contact you?
You can contact me by calling me at 954-317-9934 or go on my website at www.integritylegalfl.com.
Now, sis, I got a list of questions for you because I think that people need to understand what a will is and what a trust is. And again, if you're responsible for yourself, you need a will. If you're responsible for other people, you need a will. If you have any property, because the thing is, I find with people in our community, they think that they don't own nothing. A lot of time, if you've never bought a house, you might feel say, I don't have anything that anybody can get. Well, everybody have something to pass on. You don't think of it as an asset. But most people, like, they have a lot of assets, even though they may not say own a home. A lot of people, you have your car, you have your financial assets, jewelry,
personal property,
all
heirlooms.
Listen, we have a lot of things that we don't, we're so blessed we don't even know it. And then when we did, we said, boy, you know, people are fight over things. People have to fight again. People don't have to be mad and crying at the same time at the funeral. I want to come on, man. We have to look at preparation. And this is a legal, conversation. We're not going to get too deep, but I want Attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal to break down some of these things about what is a will, what is a trust. So just describe what we talked about. What is a will?
Well, before I even get into that, I want to put a statistic out there. In America, 70% of African American, anyone that's black, considered black in this country, die without a will and trust. So let's let that marinate. 70% of us are dying without a will and a trust, and it leaves your family scrambling, even sometimes losing property. People don't know that you can lose your property even if you have a will, if it's not probated. So we're going to talk about some stuff, and make sure.
In other words, the government might get it.
Yes.
No, understands that if you don't put it on paper, a lot of times we have relationships with people, and they may not be direct. They may be stepson. We not call them so, we don't call them stepdaddy and stepmother. We just say mother and father, whatever. But it can make it difficult.
Absolutely.
When time comes and you have to be looking at, well, she intended for me to get this, but I am not the next of kin.
Right.
So I not really have no legal right there. So, and we're going to try to prevent some more of these stories from happening. So let us talk more about wills and trusts. Suzette Speaks live on your radio Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Today, chatting with attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal right here. South Florida, she's here to serve. Main office Sunrise, but you can call her free. How much time get for the
You get a free 30-minute telephone consultation.
So, and the number again is
954 317-9934.
So we'll get to do some work today. So tell me, what is a will and what is a trust, and what's the difference?
So they're both different vehicles to help your family not stress over once someone passed. It's a plan in place, all right? So a will that op- is fully operational once you pass, or once you
Mm-hmm.
die,
Mm-hmm.
the will takes over. So people kind of don't understand these words. They're thrown out of their wills. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
So a trust is usually a better document. Now let me tell you, no legal advice here.
No, let me,
You
let me
still
make
need
sure. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not have to call an attorney because at this time, again, this is for educational purposes. We're not giving out any direct advice to anybody listening. We have to just educate you on the subject matter. So be very careful. If you have a direct question, if you have an instance where you need to find out what you should do, you just speak to an attorney directly, right? And that's why she's here. So anytime you have a question, you can call the studio now 850-446-0562, or you could call her privately, and she's given her number. So we want to make sure that everybody break this down. So a will tells tells the court, if you will,
just
how you want your properties divided after you pass.
exactly.
So you'd gone, hopefully in heaven, but you still have stuff here.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be able to direct who gets what and prevent the fights and prevent the confusion, basically,
Absolutely.
you can write it down. And we're going to tell you how's the best way. And again, seek an attorney's advice if you're uncertain about your specific circumstances. So that's the will. So writing it down,
Writing it
and
down.
there's rules to a will in Florida.
Yes, there are specific guidelines that Florida statutes need. So some people feel like, oh, I don't need to get an attorney. We just go down to Office Depot, get that
Mm-mm.
will, get that
Yeah,
trust, whatever.
yeah.
Well, you can try, but it
You
might
have
not
to
meet the
execute it.
formalities, and then
Yes.
you'll find that that will that you bought at Office Depot will not cover your
Stand up,
family.
stand up
And
in
stand up
court,
in
as they say.
Yeah.
So then you have this thing called a trust.
Yes.
So what is the difference? What is a trust?
Trust is a multi-generational wealth creator. That is what a trust is. Okay. Our counterparts in
Other communities.
other communities have been using this for years. In Florida, a trust lasts, let me tell you, 360 years. Okay.
Wow.
So that's how the Hiltons them can have
Paris Hilton and those
generational.
people, her
Her
grandfather.
great
Was it
granddaddy.
great
I
grandfather?
don't know. I don't even know. But your granny, your great granny.
Yeah. No, people, especially like a lot of us have property all over in
Yes.
Jamaica, in here. Some people
Yes.
even on other islands.
Yes, absolutely.
People own companies. When I think about, like you said, personal property, a lot of time, grandma necklace, grandma ring, I think. We just think it can't go there, but you're
Yes.
supposed to wait for what is called a probate. So after somebody passes
Mhm.
from this earth, they go through, or their property, their assets, their liabilities, all of the things that they either own or owe to somebody else goes through a probate. Can you explain what a probate is?
So what happens in Florida? Even if you have a will, it has to go through court.
Mm-hmm.
So the judge has to determine that that will is valid. That will is what the person who deceased, the person who died,
Yeah, what they
actually
intended.
intended for.
Yeah.
They also want to check on fraud, right? Because
Mhm.
people will write up a will and granny on the bed and say, oh, have her sign it too.
Yeah.
So like, there's different rules about incapacity, which means that someone who's not in their right mind. So that's the reason why Florida tries to protect, especially Florida real property.
Yeah.
That's why a will is required, and it has so much details.
Rules around it. So if
Mhm.
you're just joining us, this is Suzette Speaks Live with attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal. We're talking about a serious topic, y'all. Sometimes we make joke, but it's serious. As we say, this is for informational purposes only. So if you're looking for specific answers to your question, you can contact the attorney directly, like Melissa Wilson at Integrity Legal PA, main office Sunrise, and she can answer your specific question. But you have to be very aware that, again, for educational and informational purposes only, we're just explaining to you what wills are in the state of Florida. But again, you have to call out specifically if you have issues within your family and things that you want resolved directly. All right. Don't take this as legal advice. So as we are, both attorneys, we got to say that 2 times, people will listen.
3 times, 5 times, 20 times.
So we want to make sure you guys know the nature of the conversation is very serious. So we're talking about wills, and as she's describing, what a probate is the process of a court determining who inherits what, or who, as far as a debtor, people that you owe, needs to be paid from your estate.
Absolutely.
Can you describe what an estate is, or what makes up a person's estate?
Estate is personal, real property, intangible property. So an estate can be for musicians, writers. It can be your creative works,
Listen,
right?
my YouTube video, them, somebody will go
Yes,
inherit them one day. Like people
exactly.
don't think about stuff that you produce online. A lot of, as you say, intangible assets.
Right.
People who are content creators and things like
Yeah.
this, music, in terms of your production
Are
rights,
you a
and
YouTube influencer?
there's a lot of other things outside of the car, the truck,
Mhm.
the house, the land.
It's so
Like
much
we
more than
think
that.
about those things, but the bank accounts,
Bank
the
accounts,
the retirement funds.
retirement funds. Yep.
You got to think about, people have a lot of different things that they don't even realize they actually own.
Hmm.
So the
Insurance policies.
policies
There's so
and
many
things.
different things that you
So the probate process is that anybody who passes in Florida, the judge in a probate court, right? That's the court that determines, again, who is supposed to by law inherit a
Right.
person's assets, or even which debtors who they owe get
Right.
paid back. So the things that the people not come back
That's
and
the
get
thing.
paid from what you owe at your time of your death. So the first time people used to be very afraid to die with debt, First time
Yes.
people never want to go see God with money, with them old people. They were, it
Yes.
was like a point of pride
Yes.
not to be, owing somebody at the time of
Right.
your death. But this is a different society now. Everybody have
Unfortunately, things are
credit
high.
card debt and
Mortgage.
financing, and that's how we live. But yeah, so it goes through this process. So there can be a will. So can a person handwrite a will and sign it, like in front of the notary in Florida? Say a person tries to do that by themselves.
That is an invalid will in Florida.
Mm.
Florida does not accept what they call holographic wills. So if you handwrite a will in your own handwriting and get it notarized, that does not meet the will requirement in Florida.
Think again, guys. So thinking that you can just, who did that? Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin. They say they found 2 napkins. Jesus. Rest in peace, the Queen of Soul.
Yes, rest in peace.
Listen, Aretha Franklin, 2 sets of her people them said one find it in the couch, under the couch, like a napkin with a will, and one found it like in a desk drawer, something like so. Wanna
Yeah.
Google it, because I thought to
Yeah.
myself, what kind of mess? That lady have so much assets in
Yes.
terms of her music. And I thought, why would you? I get you can't.
It's the community.
I think it's our
70%.
mindset.
Remember?
Yeah, 70%. So she's one of the 70%.
One of the
Who am I to
70%.
judge? She's one of the 70%. Because majority of us don't. I don't have a will. Let me just say it like that. I do have certain instructions on certain assets of mine.
Right.
But truth be told, let me just put it out there. So I'm
Yeah.
one of the 70.
I have a
So
trust.
so you do have a trust.
Yeah.
So okay, so thinking about just writing on a piece of paper, a napkin. Oh no, please be careful, because that is not valid. Handwritten and just decently, somebody notarize it. We got
Right.
rules in Florida. So I know Florida rules include also witnesses.
Yes.
You have to have it witnessed by 2 people, is it?
Yes, that's one of the requirements.
Yeah. So there's wills, and then there's wills that meet the laws requirement. So be careful, folks. You don't
Yes.
want to just go and handwrite something and say, all right, but they write it down. So the court not gonna
Yes.
good sometimes not gonna be able to accept it,
And
depending
you
on.
also have to be wary of things you get online and on in office people, because it might apply to many different states. You have to have it specifically
For Florida,
for Florida,
or where you live.
if you're
Yeah.
living in Florida.
Yeah.
And wherever you live, what state you live in, it has to be specific to your state.
So for example, I'm gonna pick your brain. So for example, if you have a spouse, right? You didn't marry, and the spouse passes away and had a will, but you are not. This happens to people, but you are not mentioned in the will. What will happen then?
Well, if you're not mentioned in the will, let's say he made the will that you're remarried and you're not in the will. They have provisions for that. So the spouse is allowed to take what they call an elective share of the estate. So what does that mean in layman's terms, right? So basically, Florida law protects spouses of wills that of property, as long as they're married at the time it can be separated.
Mm.
Let's talk about that.
People still need listen. Who married long time but never finally divorced. Uno better watch it,
Yes, because that same person you described
All
gonna
these
get
people
everything.
that live separate but still married on paperwork. I don't understand why they just don't go. I guess them lazy. Them,
Yes,
I
they don't
know there's
wanna.
people like that that not until they're ready to remarry, they love find out that the person married already. And it's then them go, oh wait, I did marry a lady back in New York. So all these people like that are technically still your spouse on
Yeah,
paperwork, y'all gotta be very mindful of this and know
absolutely.
what you're doing. If you're leaving the person on your documents and you're not officially divorced, you might
Yes,
be causing a person to inherit stuff from you that you don't
absolutely,
intend.
absolutely.
What about people who are other relatives of folks? So say it's not your husband or your wife. Say it's like mommy, cousin, whatever, and you're related to somebody with a will, and you are mentioned in the will. So say your brother or
Hmm.
immediate family member died and left a will. Do you have to do anything else to get what they gave you in the will?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
A will is not automatic. Okay, if you do not take that will to court, the court that we call the court for wills and trusts is called probate.
Right.
Okay, that's just the
Probate court, just the name we
formal
have it.
name of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, so if you have a will, you have to in Florida get that through the courts, or you own nothing.
So it's not just you look at the will and you say, I want this, that my auntie leave
No,
me this, or my cousin, or my brother, or my daddy, or my mom leave
no,
me this.
no, no. If you do not get that will through
Probated.
probe, it's called probated.
Yeah.
If you don't take it to court, it's
Yes.
not valid.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and what ends up happening is that a lot of people just you even run into issues that, let's say, some people parents put their child's name
Mm-hmm.
in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
you know there's issues that there's, let's say there's a couple sisters or brothers that live in the house.
Right.
Even though that property is in their name, it doesn't dictate how much one gets
Right.
out of the property, and if they get into a dispute. So there's a lot of things that happen.
Before we go to break, guys, if you have a question, you can call us now. 850-446-0562 gets you right in touch. Suzette Speaks Live with attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal PA. I want you to answer this, and maybe you'll have more time to flesh it out. If your spouse, for example, um, does not have a will and die, a lot of people are like, okay, will I get everything? Or what
Yes.
would that, how does that work?
Well, stay tuned, but yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
meaty topic.
So
So
yeah, everybody has this kind of questioning, and there's a lot of secrecy, and nobody wants to ask. This is the time to ask everybody. She's here.
absolutely.
Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal PA is here in the flesh. She practices wills and trust, and we're gonna get more into trust too, because I think as a
Yes.
community, we don't take advantage of trust like other communities, y'all. We think about will, we kind of know what will mean, but trust is the next level.
Yes.
And that's how a lot of people level up their generational wealth and their family wealth. Melissa Wilson, how can people reach you if they have specific questions on today's topic?
You can reach me at 954-317-9934
And your website, please?
at www.integritylegalfl.com.
Yes, so Melissa Wilson, Integrity Legal, is here teaching us about wills and trusts. Again, today is for informational and educational purposes.
Absolutely not legal
Not
advice.
legal advice. Uno, stop it. Uno, if you have any question, you call
Give
the
me a
number
call.
and she sit down with you for the 30 minutes and free and
Well, I
listen.
do telephone
Tell it, no,
consultations
sit
for
down, but
free.
by phone, by
By
phone,
phone.
and listen and get some information, because anything can happen to any of us. God is so good, but we have to prepare, and we have to prepare ourselves and our families so we stop this pattern. 70% of us don't have a will. We got to change that, y'all. So we
Yes.
got to think about these things from early, no matter your age, really, from your big person and your work. You have to have a will. Like it's a
Babies die every day.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Unfortunately.
And there's trust in. Oh, listen, we're gonna get into
Yeah.
what trust means. I also want to invite you to Ragging King, the incredible story of a comeback of a just a phenomenal artist. He will be here, y'all, celebrating his recovery album Monday, June 24th from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. I'll be in the building. Special guest, Damian Marley, I Octane for the Galim, Serrani, more. Listen, that's going to be at the Miramar City Hall the 24th of June, coming up this Monday, 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. I'll be a little late, but I want to be over there to support. This is a Voice of the Caribbean sponsored event, but we want to invite each and every one of you. It's free. Let's go. Stay tuned. A lot more. Suzette Speaks Live right after this.
Everything.
All right, perfect. Off? Okay, perfect. Hey, everybody. So this is great. So now I feel like we can go into. I was just jumping around to see what made sense where we were in the conversation. Cool. So I will get to the will your spouse get everything, the blended family goes next.
It's my official
These two,
album
and then I
release
think we
for
should go down to our
Miramar
trust.
City Hall,
When
2300
we did
City
that,
Center, Miramar, Florida.
will our trust.
6
That is
p.m. to
important.
12 p.m.
And then get
Can't
down
wait to
into the
see you.
trust. Okay, perfect. I think it's going great. Revocable. I don't know if we're gonna get into this revocable. Might be a little bit too heavy lifting. So much cheaper. This is a good question. Trust with the bomb. Trust me, is always not prepared by five. If my spouse would die, I have homestead protection. What does that mean? This is important. All right, so we'll try to get through bomb. My main family died without her. Okay, this you kind of answered, but yeah, you can go back to it.
Yeah.
All right,
All
cool.
of the A's and stuff are my answers.
Yeah. Got it. All right. All right, so we'll start from here. Okay, this was we left off. This is this, and then go into number 5. Okay, so 2, 3, and then 5.
I have what maybe a dumb question.
No question is dumb.
All right. So, is there any kind of protection? I already know that copyright is the way to go for poems and speeches and stuff like that. But so I came to this idea recently to start. I'm very camera shy, but I record my speeches and I put up stills. So I've been making videos, getting ready to do a little launch in a different way for Norman Lawrence online. Not necessarily
Not
a podcast.
podcast. It's almost like life
Yeah,
lessons.
almost.
I can feel you.
Yeah, so it's more like a lesson. It's
Yeah.
like I have speeches,
Yeah.
3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 minutes. I have poems as well. All about things to uplift my nation and stuff like that. Like a poem is called New State of Mind. You know what I mean? Then a simple poem was about many car accidents in Jamaica. Stuff like that. You know what I'm trying to say to you? And then the one that I know is gonna be good is message in the music, which is what I'm known for.
You know where you're gonna
The
blow
poem
up?
is called huh?
It's fun. TikTok. You will blow
So
up.
this is it now. I know already that by just by showing people what I do, that it's gonna blow up, right? From not trying to say whatever, I'm agreeing with you, right? But I'm thinking about the fact that should I copyright them first? Is there any kind of protection if I don't copyright them? And you get what I'm trying to say? Not
You're
really.
gonna steal your stuff.
So you see what I'm trying to say? So a lot of people have gone viral without copyrighting their stuff. But I'm wondering, should I be so picky and choosy either because it costs to copyright all of that? But
You do copyright?
Well, I mean,
You don't follow?
yeah, I do.
You do.
so like a 50-minute speech, what would that cost to copyright?
Um,
Or is it by length of speech or what by?
well, it depends. If you have a compilation, it would probably be easier to do it that way. You pay one
As
time.
one
As
big
one
thing.
big
Like
thing.
this is like
So, like, if you have
100
everything done,
different pieces in one
let's
big
say you have
compilation.
10, 15, whatever,
Yeah.
100.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
I
saying
said, like,
100, but
You can,
I've got
maybe
quite a
not
few
100,
not 100, but
but
yeah.
at least 15, 20.
Yeah.
You can do it all at once.
all at once, so that includes the speeches and the poems.
It's
Yeah.
like a compilation.
So I come here with 20
That
speeches and
one
poems. So
time,
altogether,
Right.
I come here and
that
charge you
body
one
of
time
work is
Yeah.
called
for
the
like
blah 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 series.
approximately how much for the month? Something like 20.
Oh, no,
Just get an
but
idea.
mute that. So
time.
Yeah. Whenever, which I'll show you. I'm gone 3 Fridays,
Yeah.
so we'll pick that, and then we'll make that happen. I love it.
All right.
How much time do we have?
Thursday and the music.
Okay, perfect.
I think
I think that works because I think a lot of people in our community do artistic stuff, and they're curious about it, but they don't think they know anybody. You know, people actually before was asking me entertainment law, and I didn't have a person to give them.
Right.
So yeah,
Virgin of mine, my dear client of yours, he
yeah,
just reached out to
so
me
many.
yesterday to say that the artist that he was working on died. And no, he don't know. He spends so much money. He want to find out if
Recoup his
recoup that
stuff.
money.
That's good. You have a lot of good. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Insightful. We're back. Suzette speaks on your radio. It's a beautiful Friday here in South Florida. Big up, God, hello, just giving us the sunshine. Listen, it's hot. But prefer the hot than the rain. On might disagree, but at least the sun was shining. On my drive over here, I was just getting in the mood. It's Fire Fridays, y'all, on Voice of Caribbean I-9 Radio. Fire Fridays mean the music today, tonight. My kind of music, get you moving, get you grooving. So make sure on the drive time you keep it locked right here. Lisa B's up next. But the Fire Fridays just bring music with vibes. And this is my favorite day of the week. Yesterday was Throwback Thursday. I also like Throwback Thursday. But yeah, the Joyride, the Diwali rhythm, all of those rhythm I was hearing yesterday. But yeah, today is my day. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. This is Suzette Speak Show Live. We're here every Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. giving you information and news you can use, bringing you interesting guests. I want people to know their community. One thing about South Florida, I feel like a lot of people don't know that they're good people there. And they're just not in that circle. I tell people who move down here all the time, it's hard to break into different circles. For some reason, we kind of stick to our own. You go to events, you see the same people. You go to this, you see the same people. You have to kind of move out of your comfort zone and get to know new people. And I want y'all to get to know Melissa Wilson. She is an attorney here. She practices law with Integrity Legal PA, main office Sunrise. She's been a guest a couple of times, and we're gonna have her back because she's giving you guys good information. We're talking about the dire need for understanding of wills and trust in our community. We just heard the statistics she gave. 70% of Black folks in America don't have a will. And it's one of the ways that you can protect your assets. You can put your goals for your what belongs to you into place, right? And them say control from the grave is real.
Yes,
People
yes.
think, listen, people great granddaddy still controlling their lives
Yes.
because they had a trust. And we'll get into what a trust is and the difference between a trust and a will. But before we went to break, just welcome back if you just joining again. 102.1 FM Fort Lauderdale, 94.3 FM Miami, 102.3 North Miami and Hollywood, 99.7 in Orlando Lake Mary, Winter Garden, and 105.3 FM in Vero Beach, as well as Port St. Lucie. We always here for y'all. I also wanted to big up our station for putting together the album release party for Ryan King. He is one of the new generation of dancehall artists. Went through a horrific ordeal where he got shot and he's been paralyzed in a wheelchair. If you don't know Ryan King, he came out, with tunes, right? And unfortunately, he was hospitalized. He had to learn, how to move and whatever again, nearly paralyzed him. But he's been pushing, and this is his next album, Recovery. It has a lot of meaning. It's Monday. It's going to be in Miramar at the City Hall, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. Special guest, Damian Marley. Me love that, That's on my artist, As well as I Octane. Listen, the lineup is already making me smile. So, Ronnie, I need free. Just make sure we're not thinking, we're not still where it's a register, but want to come out, right? June 24th. Next Monday, this coming Monday, right? Monday, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. Especially if you're in the area, just come, relax. As I said, palaver and enjoy yourself. Anyway, we're here talking wills and trust. And with Melissa Wilson, let's off with a question before the break, my darling. Because some people don't know this area, and that's okay. We're here to teach. And again, this is for general informational purposes. So a lot of people may have questions that are specific. And if they do, how can they reach you?
You can get your free 30-minute telephone consultation at 954-317-9934. Website www.integritylegalfl.com.
All right. So what me did I ask you? Me did I ask you if the relative died?
No, the spouse.
What me did I ask you?
They asked me.
So okay, what if the spouse died? Right. and had a will, but your name is not on the will, what happens?
So if your name is not in the will, Florida law still protects you. They allow you to take 30% of what they call elective state. So that means that if um, if the person has property, like a real property, and even if they have trust property, you still are allowed to get 30% of whatever personal, tangible, or intangible property. So tangible means that you can move
And
them
touch it,
around and
feel it.
touch it and
Yeah,
feel it.
yeah,
Intangible means like YouTube influencer,
yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, all of these technologies that you can't physically touch, but
Patents
it
and
has
copyrights. Let's
patents
go.
and copyrights. We're
So
gonna talk about
listen.
that another day.
So make sure you understand that even if you don't in the will and you're married, them can't if you. That's the
Cannot.
basics of it, right?
Yeah.
So the state law, thank goodness, still protects someone who is married
Right.
from being left out of a will.
Yes.
So just the general idea.
And minor kids also get
Yeah,
that
you can't
protection as
just
well.
leave everybody out of the will and you're married. The law provides for that. So let me ask you, um, if you're also looking at doing, excuse me, let me talk about this because there's a lot of people with blended families, right?
Mhm.
Where you're married, you came in a marriage with kids, your husband came in a marriage with kids, or an adoption had occurred or didn't occur. So a lot of blended families are around. So if you're in a blended family, married,
Mhm.
and one of the parents die, right?
Mhm.
And the surviving spouse has, kids that were not that person's, right? The kids that you
Mhm.
brought into the marriage. Um, do they get any part of an estate if
So
they don't
this
have
is
a
a
will?
very big thing in our community because blended families on the rise in every demographic.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happens is that the spouse will not get everything in
Wow.
Florida. No, you
Wow.
will not. If you have, if the deceased has a child outside the marriage, or you have a child outside the marriage as the surviving spouse, you will not get 100% of the estate. You will get half the estate, and it will go, and the other half will go to the children if you die without a will or trust.
Let me break that down again. That's good information. So again, when we have the opportunity to make a will, we need to take it seriously. And again, if you have kids, me not understand how me not pity, but
Mhm.
if you have kids, it's important to make sure you're lying laughing at me. No, it's true because you have people will really rely on you, dependent on you.
And don't forget, if you have an invalid will that doesn't meet Florida statutes, you still die
Without
without
a
a will
will,
or
technically
trust.
you won't have a will
So
if you.
you,
So the
so you
handwritten
will
will, we
still,
warn you about that already.
and even the office depots
You have
and
to be careful with
the
those.
online wills might
Yeah,
not apply to Florida.
you have to be careful. You
You
have
have to
to
be
make sure it's
careful.
valid under Florida law, and Florida law has specifications of what they consider a valid will. So that's why you
Yes.
need an attorney, guys. So when you think about blended families, as you said, it's very common. It is not uncommon though if a person dies without the will, that the kids who are from the blended side, the
Hmm.
mother side kids, may not get anything,
Right.
and
Half.
or only get half and
Only
those
get
things.
half.
So if their intention again is now that you create the control, is now that you direct where you want your money to go, this speaks for you.
Yep.
So instead of people, I guess, and a fight and confusion, you have to make sure you are doing your diligence and helping your family at what can I say, just be more at ease in your passing,
Absolutely.
because people now have to go to probate, and there was no will, and there's all of this time, and it take long, and all of this. We got to make
And I
sure we're
want to mention
preparing.
too, even if you do have a will, it does have to go to
It still
court.
goes to probate. Yes, that is
Only a
true.
trust avoids probate. So that's our next segue
Yeah,
we're
let's
going to
get
talk
into
about.
some trust because I want them to hear about trust, because black people, all right, people of the Caribbean, people of the descendants thereof, don't oftentimes utilize trust. We might do a will. So, what is better, Melissa, a will or a trust?
Well, it's a real attorney answer. It depends, right? And that's our number one answer in
Yeah,
the law.
because it
So,
depends on you, what you need.
so trusts are generally a better vehicle. Why? Because trust avoids the need to go to court. So a properly created
Mm,
trust,
mm.
because you have to also add property to the trust properly. So even if you have a trust document that you got online, if it's not, if the property that you own is not a part of the trust, then you have an invalid trust.
So listen again. So wills have to be processed by the court. That's the process in the court is called the probate court. When people
Mm-hmm.
pass, that's the area of law. It goes through probate. and the judge must decide. People can't just look at a will and just work and put it to practice. They have to let the court decide. A, is the will valid? Right? Was it executed properly under Florida law? And was it really what the person intended? Did the person have the right state of mind? They have the capacity, is the word under the law. Was their brain fully functional? Because a lot of people like to do them will they when people start getting old.
Right.
And they cannot have
dementia. And all that
yeah,
and
you
have
have to
them
be
sign
very
it.
careful. That stuff don't be legal, y'all. So we
No.
gotta know the judge will ask the questions about what and who and where and why when it
And
comes
they
to the
will find
wills.
out because there's medical records, guys. So if they
Yeah,
even try
yeah,
to like
yeah.
make grandma who had dementia,
You
Alzheimer's,
better
sign
be
it,
careful.
you're gonna
You
have to be
better be
careful.
careful because there's a lot of laws
Considered fraud.
around that. Exactly. A lot of laws around that. So we're just cautioning you to know that there are limitations to this. Now, we talked about wills and we're now talking about trust. And
Yes.
again, trust has a different purpose. What's the purpose? You said it doesn't have to go through probate. It actually is automatically in effect. Is that correct?
If it's properly done.
That's the key.
Okay. So there's
A
two types of
valid trust. Go
a
ahead.
valid trust. So there's two types of trust. We're not going to go real into
Yes,
that, but I just
yes.
want to let you know
The
there's
names.
a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. What does that mean? Revocable trust means that you can control all of your assets while you're still alive. And then it will go into effect also when you die. So you have the ability to manipulate your property and still protect yourself at the same time. Okay. Irrevocable trust only happen at death, and it has a different protection. So just
Okay.
want to let
So
you know
there's
those two
two
words.
types. So there's a trust now, and the biggest difference, what is the will is you telling the court where you want your assets to go.
Yes.
But it also must be done properly and by according to the law.
Right.
The proper steps have to be taken. So just not every will, just something right on a napkin, and you know how they show you in the movies. It don't work like that in Florida.
Not in
So
Florida.
you have to have
Maybe other
certain amount of
states.
witnesses. You have to have notary. You have to have different things, and of course, capacity of the person has to be there, etc.
Another
So
thing people might not know about wills and trusts is that wills also don't allow you to. Oh, shit, I lost my
no, that's okay. We're gonna get into the trust versus the will because trust is more expensive to put together.
Yes.
And wills are cheaper.
Yes.
Why?
That is, you know what?
Yeah.
You read my mind. Thank God for my psychic sister. That was what I was trying to formulate in my mind. Yes. So why is will so cheap, right? You got to think about this. Why are things cheaper than others? Generally because of quality, right? We all know that Ross purse versus a Gucci bag is completely different, right?
Hey, come up on my Ross. I'm
But
Marsh.
big up my Ross and Marshall. Still strapped there now.
Me love my Marsh.
But me just I tell you, the little $20 bag versus Gucci is a difference of quality.
Stop calling my name. Stop. No, I'm a Ross girl. They
listen.
If I hold up a good clothes and they look good for me. So I'm gonna talk more Ross and Marshall at TJ Maxx on my store there.
I'm my store.
Hello, but she's trying to make an analogy. Yes, yes, sister. Go ahead, sister-in-law. Go ahead.
Yes. So why a will is so cheap is because let's see, because it has to go through probate, and furthermore, one thing is so wills have to go to court. They are required to go to court, and you are required to get an attorney to represent you
in the court. Probate. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening, you might spend $100 on a will that you are even $15 at Office Depot.
If it's done
let's
properly,
say it's done properly, by the grace of God, you got it to meet the Florida state requirements, the little $10 will. And now your family who is grieving has to come up with anywhere from like 5,000-10,000 for a probate attorney.
Yeah.
How much ever they're charging to go to court for you. Right? Because it's a very complicated process.
Yeah, so we're thinking about
but trust can avoid
that. So trust, there are two types that she just mentioned: revocable and irrevocable. We don't even have the time to get into it so deep. So I have a couple more questions. If you have any questions, you can call us now, 850-446-0562, 850-446-0562.
Also wills
0562. No, go ahead, sis. No problem.
Also wills, they have to.
No, that's okay.
No, also wills, they get creditors can come after you. Trust has some certain protections if it's done properly. So I wanted to just say that wills if you have any debt, the people who owe the debt,
Yeah.
they have to get paid first before your
Yeah.
family. I think a lot of people don't know that.
Okay, say it again.
So
So
if
if
you
you
have
die
any
in
debt,
debt, yes.
the
Your old people,
creditors,
yeah, the
you
creditors,
owe your mortgage, whatever,
yeah,
credit cards, they have to,
loans,
loans,
hmm,
they they have to get paid prior to your family
family.
getting paid.
So the people that you owe get in line first, and the court deal with them
And whatever's
first
left goes to your
to your
family.
family. So you
And then
guys,
trust has
yeah,
a way to avoid that. That's why these,
richer
Paris
people,
Hilton and all
yeah.
that, they can avoid
And
that
it
if
don't
it's
have to
properly
be
done.
for rich people. It can be for
No,
anybody. These are accessible to anybody.
definitely. If you own a home and a car, you might want to consider trust. People think that you have to be a multi-million dollar.
No.
No, if you even only own a house and a car, you might want to invest in a trust for your family.
850-446-0562. Time is short. If you have a question about wills and trust, attorney Melissa Wilson is here to serve. She represents for Integrity Legal PA. And again, you can find her at integritylegalfl.com.
Yes, yes.
Integrity Legal FL. I had to remember FL. IntegrityLegalFL.com. And again, she provides a phone 30-minute free consultation if you are curious about this topic and want more answers. Again, this is for educational and informational purposes. If you have specific questions, you have to contact an attorney directly. So make sure you can reach out to her if you have any questions. I want to ask you about homestead, because in Florida we have this thing called homestead protection. So a lot of people, thank God, you get a little 50,000 off of your value of your house when you go to file your taxes, and there are other protections that came with it. That's why it was made. If your spouse died and you have a car and a house and you have a homestead protection, what does that mean regarding the probate with regards to what we call real property, the stuff that you could touch?
Okay, so real property, Florida protects homestead. It's a very protective state. That's why when any of the superstars get in trouble, they come to Florida, right?
And they file for the homestead
Trump.
protection.
Oh, we're not gonna mention that. But anyway, there are certain people that come to this state because they know they're not doing no good. So, anyways, homestead is a protection, right? So, what homestead means is that it protects a certain amount of your home, the certain amount of area that your home is on, and it also protects two vehicles. Okay. And so it's very complicated, but I just wanted to let you know like the basics.
It is a good thing to have.
Yes, and
so just you don't can't tell you if you go get it, but if you have the opportunity, you should look into what the benefits of the homestead protection.
And you do that at county, whatever county you're at.
Yes.
So, but you have to already have it in place prior to
the person passing. So if you have homestead protection, it adds some kind of what do you call it, benefit for people who are the surviving spouse. So you have to look at that. If you never filed for homestead protection, you can also, as she said, call the county that you live in, and they can explain to you how to file for that and what qualifies you for that. So I think the main thing here, guys, wills and trusts are important and they are accessible. If you don't think you need one, you might want to reconsider that. Absolutely. Because as we've talked about, there are so many scenarios when somebody passed that can lead to people not having what they need in place and their family getting confusing messages and going through this long process, sometimes a very tumultuous and fight against one another process. So we don't necessarily have to do that. We can make it clean and clear. What did you want? What did you intend? What do you expect? And then the trust lasts so much longer.
And protects you from also liabilities. There's ways of you to protect your assets from the creditors getting it if you have a trust versus whether you have a will. Wow. Will the creditors have to get paid? Trust, not so much. If it's done valid.
So trust is another thing we have to explore in a little bit more detail. Let me just ask you this. So if you have an immediate family member that has passed or just passed without any will or without any trust. So this is the most common because 70% of us don't have a will or a trust, 70%. Which is a problem. But so you're in a situation, unexpected, immediate family member passes without a will and a trust. What should a person do next?
Well, they're going to have to go to court, right? Because there's no way to determine the legal, if there's no if the house is not deeded to someone and if it's
like an automatic deed,
there's certain deeds that you can do via deed. It must go to court. So now you're grieving of a sudden loss and now you got to deal with this court thing. So even if so that's what ends up happening. Also, it is sad because in some ways, I have a person in my family where her son died, you know, um, quickly,
Unexpected, yeah,
unexpectedly,
yeah.
young man,
Mm.
and then you can't even be a health advocate for them after they passed the age of, I believe, 24,
Wow,
and she couldn't even sue the hospital because of that. He died
wow.
because only a spouse or a child, any child could sue the hospital. So
This
the
hurt
parent could
me. That
not. So
hurt
if
me so
you
much.
are a young person over the
Mhm.
age of, I think 24, 26, somewhere around that, don't quote me on the date
Yeah, yeah,
specifically,
yeah.
but your parents might not be able to advocate for you and that's very sad.
So there's so much again in this area of law. We just wanted to bring you the information, because you could also have in those cases like a healthcare power of attorney
Yes, there has
and those
durable
things,
power of attorney
durable
help.
power.
This is all a part of the probate process, so people
Yes,
don't know about that as well.
yes,
But your mom, if you're a college student, basically, 25, 26, and you don't have any children and you're not married, your mom cannot sue on your behalf if there's medical malpractice in the
right.
state of Florida.
Yeah. So
So
it
they'll
goes to
get
a
away
certain
from it.
age. It goes
Yep.
to a certain age, yes, and
Yeah.
you're not
And
married.
if you want
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
details, you
yes.
can give me a call at
Yes.
954-317-9934.
Say it one more time.
954-317-9934.
Attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal FL. We're going to leave you with some final thoughts, but there's so much more we could talk about, y'all, because
It's a huge
this is
topic.
this is a big area of law, and you don't have to go about it by yourself. You know that she's here. We have some wonderful attorneys here associated with the station, and Integrity Legal of Sunrise is one of the places that you can reach out to directly. Again, we wanted to explain and we want to educate today, uplift, and let people know what their options are. But we hope this has been helpful because oftentimes we'll look at situation and woulda coulda shoulda and boy if me did do one me did do whatever, but you have to know that right now is the time. Now knowledge
Absolutely.
is power. I can look into this. It's not as expensive as, especially the will side, it's not as expensive as
Exactly.
what it would cost you afterwards if I go pay a turn, if I go figure out who
And
forget
sometimes
what.
it's better to invest in the trust for your family to better protect them as well.
The trust is the thing. I think a lot of people need to look into this trust thing
Mhm.
because it is something that is accessible, and the very, I wouldn't call it upper middle class and wealthy in our country have used it for
Generations.
centuries now.
Like I said before, it lasts 360 years.
So you have people, yeah, we're not even
In
talking about,
Florida, at least.
yeah, the Rockefellers and them there, but you, the Smith them, the Campbell them, everybody, Washington them, all of us now have access to this. It's knowledge
Absolutely.
that helps us move forward, y'all. So hopefully you gain some today. One last time, I want to thank Attorney Melissa Wilson for coming through. She'll be back, y'all. We were just talking off air about her experience with copyright. A lot of us write music,
Entertainment law.
entertainment law, and encapsulate all of that. So we want to make sure she come back and teach us about the copyright and how you make sure you own your creative work. This is a huge
YouTube
thing.
influencers.
Hello, the digital creators like myself, content creators, people who write music, people who produce music, people who sing song. She's gonna get into that because
People that develop apps.
hello. So exactly, apps and making a new app. Everybody need a good entertainment attorney, as we say. But when we say entertainment, that's what we mean. So when she come back, I want to ask her to kind of open that kind of worms for us and explain some of the services she often encounters and provides for people who are in entertainment law. One last time, sis, how do people reach out to you?
Call me for your free 30-minute consultation, telephone consultation at 954-317-9934.
Yay!
Website www.integritylegalfl.com.
I'm so proud of her. Thank you, Melissa Wilson,
Thank
PA,
you.
for being here, or Integrity Legal PA. I also want to invite you one more time to the Ride Getting King album release. The Recovery album is his new project, y'all. Speaking about intellectual property, June 24th,
Yes.
6 p.m. to 12 a.m. At the City of Miramar City Center Place. Special guests include Damian Marley, I Octane, My baby. So you see how Acting look good now, him lose the weight now and slim rasta. So Ronnie, you listen. And today is Fire Fridays here on Voice of the Caribbean. It's my favorite time, y'all. Just know that you can always tune in to us all the way up to Orlando, 102.1 FM in Fort Lauderdale, 94.9 FM Miami, 102.3 FM North Miami, Hollywood, 99.7 Orlando, Winter Garden, Leah Mary, big up yourself, 105.3 FM in Vero Beach and Port St. Lucie. Follow me on all platforms. Yeah, Suzette Speaks Be Around Town, y'all. I got my new politicking event coming up July 31st. More to come. Thanks for listening. We'll hear you next week. See you next week. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Bye.
Lisa be next. Thanks for watching. Have
This
a
is
great
Ragan
weekend.
King.
Take
June
care.
24th is my
As well as
official
that's
album
because
release
that's the
party.
album release.
Miramar City Hall, 2300